Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now we got countdown to some pretty big fights. A lot of people gonna fight today, tonight. Subriel Matias, Alexander Gvurchik versus Benavidez, and for a lot of people, Javante Davis and Frank Martin. So those, it's gonna be some pretty good fights going down, right? So countdown to that. But a lot of times, I like to give props to the fighters for stuff that they've done already. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we're like, hey, as soon as they finish fighting, well, what you gonna do next? Who you gonna fight next? You scared of this person? You scared of that person? And a lot of times people do things and you're like, damn, that's awesome, But we sit here and we always say, hey, what else they supposed to do? Like I was saying before, Alexander Usyk fought Tyson Fury. Alexander Usyk did not have to beat Tyson Fury, in my opinion. He's already a living legend. He had already done a lot of awesome things before fighting Tyson Fury. He just put the cherry on top, right? And another fighter that's like that is Terence Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford. Yeah, he ain't been in the ring for about a year. But like I said before, and I'm going to repeat a lot of things in this video probably, is, he's been actively inactive. People, suppose that fought him, didn't, because of circumstances, if it's Errol Spence, if it's Tim Chu, if it's Sebastian Fandora, you know what I'm saying? All those things just didn't happen, right? And so he's going up to 154. And so, he's waiting for the pretty much best guy or one of the best guy to match him off, which is going to be a dangerous fight. So before that fight, in my opinion, Terence Crawford ain't got to do that. He ain't got to beat Madrimov. He's a living legend right now. First ballot Hall of Famer, in the GOAT conversation, one of them, but he's going to be, if he does even something else, like become a 3-division undisputed, which is definitely not etched in stone, then also, but some of the things that he's done already, just like Usyk, it's ridiculous. And my advice to you guys is this: do not, I repeat, do not ever watch Terence Crawford highlights, especially if you're not a fan or if you kind of just don't want to give him no love. You kind of, you're fans of other people and stuff like that. You don't want to really know what he's done, so you can sit back and say, what is that, plausible deniability? You want to just have that? Do not get anywhere near highlights that will remind you of what this guy does. And in most of his highlights, they don't even have stuff in there like a Felix Diaz. Right? A lot of people don't want to mention that one, for example, because, that guy was basically undefeated. Right? I think he had a loss to Peterson, which wasn't really a loss and stuff like that. Olympian. And he was a PBC fighter during the time when people were saying this is other sides of the street, but he fought him, which was in PBC. Although John Molina as well. But I'm just saying, a lot of people were using that. You didn't really want to mention that, right? You don't want to mention things like, Shawn Porter. A lot of people were, when we had the Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence thing going on, and you had a lot of fans of Errol Spence, rightfully so, because Errol Spence is somebody to be a fan of, right? But, when you had to pick a side, I guess, at that particular time. So a lot of Errol Spence fans, when Crawford kept wanting to fight him, were always saying, hey, you got to fight Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter should be your mandatory. And now at the time, there was no reason for Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter, right? But he put Shawn Porter as his mandatory. They kind of cool friends and stuff. So, Terence Crawford had to fight Shawn Porter. Now, Terence Crawford didn't want to fight him, and I'm pretty sure he didn't want to hurt him. It's ridiculous. So they fight about 10 rounds. Somebody tells Terence Crawford at the beginning of the 10th round, you could be behind here. And he goes out here and stops him in the same round where he found that out. And before he wasn't really trying to hurt his boy. To do that to a Shawn Porter. Now people say, well, Shawn Porter didn't train so good before that fight, and Shawn Porter wasn't really this and wasn't really that. Well, big as Shawn Porter is, he trained because he would not. Shawn Porter's a middleweight. There's no way he gets down to 147 without some discipline. That's just not going to happen. Now, if they would have fought at a catch weight of 158, we could have talked. But you can't say that to somebody big as Shawn Porter who made it down to 147. Just not possible. It's impossible to happen. He wouldn't have made it down there. He's a huge guy. That's a fullback body. Right? So I'm just letting you know. So, but that's just the way he was able to do. That's something you don't really want to see. So don't go back and highlights. And when this guy became undisputed, beating a very, very confident Julius Ndungo, who people just try to write off as he was nothing, and then going to beat a Victor Posto, who was undefeated at the time. That was awesome at 140, to become undisputed. To come up to 147 and fight all those big old guys, the Jeff Horns of the world who had just beat Manny Pacquiao, and Jose Benavidez and Cavalauskas, or whatever I like to call him, Cavalauskas. And like I say, Shawn Porter, Errol Spence, all those guys are bigger than him. To watch him do that and have distance in every single one of those fights. We can't go back and say, well, he barely beat him, man. That was a split decision. That was a robbery. Like anybody else that's up there. His name ain't Alexander Usyk or Bivol. And even Usyk had one close fight against Briedis. But it was Briedis was in Latvia. It was a close fight. But if you get a close fight and you win away in Latvia at their house, then I'm giving that to you. But that's because the Usyk is similar. But Terence Crawford ain't even got nothing. Nobody close, nowhere, nothing, nowhere near, no controversy, nowhere. Still, at 40 fights, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I also have to mention the Manny Pacquiao thing. Manny Pacquiao, they did not want him to fight him because Manny Pacquiao, they was worried about his well-being if he fights him. And what I'm saying is he would have beat the hell out of Manny Pacquiao. That wouldn't have been close. And, we're talking about scratching on Manny Pacquiao's legacy type of thing. And Bob Arum, Freddie Roach, didn't want no parts of that because, Manny Pacquiao was going to get messed up in here. And they said it. Don't look at me, just go Google it. Freddie Roach, what he was saying at the time, and Bob Arum. Those are things, feathers in his cap. Because Manny Pacquiao, you could talk about Manny Pacquiao, right after saying they don't want him to fight Terence Crawford because he's going to get hurt, they'll say he could beat Errol Spence because he's too quick for Errol Spence. Like in the same conversation, they would say that. You see what I'm saying? So big as Errol Spence was, Pacquiao fancies that fight, not against Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford was at 140 at the time. So I'm just saying, this guy here, if somebody you do not want to get anywhere near any highlights because it will remind you of what you're seeing here. It's ridiculous. He ain't fought in a year, but it ain't his fault. And this is what's the problem. He has that discipline Floyd Mayweather had. Floyd Mayweather just duped y'all and made y'all think he wasn't disciplined, like going through running at night to the strip club, throw some money in the camera, and then run back to the gym on y'all. Y'all thought he was in the strip club, not fit. That was awesome. Can't take that away from Floyd Mayweather. It's like, okay, they gonna hate me anyway. Let me just go over here and make them think they hate me, and then they can think some guy gonna beat me, and then I beat them up on their holiday. Cool, awesome thing to do. That's what you gotta do to racist people. Why not? Do them like that. But Terence Crawford just don't say nothing. And they hate him too. But he just beats the hell out of everybody. Sovereign. Not even close. Get the hell out of here. There's a lot of distance between me and the rest of everybody. Unlike most people that they be putting in pound for pounds and stuff and all that. There's distance. Even Inouye. Inouye's eye sockets was broke against a 40-year-old Nonito Donaire. Barely won that fight. Everybody got close stuff. We don't got none of this against Terence Crawford. You be starting to look for stuff. Man, Kalavakas had him hurt. Gamboa had him hurt. Yeah, and then whitewashed. Both of them. And let me tell you, I was going for Gamboa. I'm a Gamboa fan. And Terence Crawford just, damn, he beat my boy. And then they start figuring out, man, this guy not beat my boy. Anybody's boy got beat up. And then at some point, you just got to bow down and say, this guy is extraordinary. And he is, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. So again, I got a lot of stuff to say, but I'm not. I'm just warning you. Do not, and I repeat, do not ever look at any Terence Crawford highlights because it could be disappointing. Doing Sports Talk Worldwide, and I'm up out of here, y'all.